welcome to another video. If you're like me, you like PlayStation trophies and you like Platinum trophies and you like playing a mixture of different games to achieve Platinum trophies in different styles of games, you know, third person open worlds, first person RPGs, indie games, you know, a great mixture of games. Now, the PlayStation 4 has granted us this amazing opportunity to play all these different vast games, and truth be told, this generation of console has also introduced us to the really easy Platinum trophy, you know, these shameful games that come out, you know, every other week and they take an hour to finish, and there's a lot of them, there's hundreds of them now. And this made me think back to the PlayStation 3 generation, and to be honest, there wasn't many terrible, easy PlayStation 3 games. You know, there just wasn't the case. They were great, solid games all the time. Sorry, Terminator Salvation. Forget about this guy, you know. But on a whole, there wasn't those easy Platinum trophies. There wasn't. It tended to be bigger games that were more built around the game itself, and trophies weren't really. There wasn't really a trophy hunter in the initial stages of PlayStation, as we know, because it came out. The trophy system came out after the achievement system. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to talk about a few PlayStation 3 games. Going back to old school retro, I want to talk about 7 PlayStation 3 games that are fun and easy, great Platinum trophies. These games are between, you know, 6 to 20 to 25 hours long, because back then the PlayStation 3 only had a few shameful games that you could get the easy Platinum trophy on. Most of the easy Platinum trophies were still about 10 hours, so this list isn't as easy as the PlayStation 4 list you will see now, but these games, most of them, are great games, and they're all easy Platinum trophies. Before we get started, please like and subscribe, turn on the notification bell to keep up to date with my content. I really appreciate it. Likes really help the videos grow, so please hit the like button. And without further ado, let's get started with my 7 easy, fun Platinum trophies for the PlayStation 3. Okay guys, can you remember Ninja Theory? You know, I remember Ninja Theory, and I remember when they used to do really good games, which brings me to the first game on this list, which is Enslaved Odyssey to the West. You can just see that there. This was a great third-person sort of action puzzle game with great combat. It was a great game where you played as Monkey, who was a really fun character, and it was about his experiences through a post-apocalyptic world. And it's a really fun game. To be honest, I actually made it, when I first started YouTube, I made this terrible video about my top 10 games of all time. Do not watch it, I should have mentioned it. But in it I mentioned this game because, to be honest, I had such fond memories. It's one of my favourite games of all time, and I know that you experience a game different how you experience it depending on where you are in your life. So, you know, maybe if I played it now I wouldn't think it's as good, but I still think, you know, generally it's a solid third-person action exploration puzzle game where, you know, it's a good combination of combat, a good combination of, you know, exploring this post-apocalyptic world, which is really beautiful and lush and green. And the Platinum trophy, guys, you know, like I've said, the title of this list, it's easy and it's fun. You can platinum this game at a push in 20 hours, but probably about 15 hours. It only requires one playthrough. You have to start the game on hard, but the game isn't difficult. You know, it's pretty much the same as maybe like a medium standard of game. If I had to compare it to a similar combat style, I'd say it's, you know, it's of its time. It's a little bit like Batman Arkham Asylum, but a little bit more basic, and it's about as difficult as a medium on that game. So that's how hard I would sort of tell you now, looking back at this game. It's a great game. One playthrough on hard, guys, and then there's no missable trophy, so you can just go back and do a little bit of cleanup, because there's a few orbs you have to collect here and there. But all in all, it's going to take 15 to 20 hours, and you can get a Platinum trophy, which is really fun and really easy. Now, just forewarning, guys, there's quite a few superhero games in this. I don't know why you think I like superheroes. I don't know why you think that. But, yeah, there's quite a few superheroes on this video, superhero games even. And the first one, do you remember, like, in back in 2008, 2010, you know, there was all these tie-in movie games, and a lot of them sucked. They did, I'm not going to lie there, but a few of them were okay, you know, they give you different experiences. Some were terrible. This one's sort of in the middle. It ain't great, but it's pretty easy, and it's unique for its time, which is Iron Man 2. Now, yeah, you know what, you're going to say this game wasn't super fun, but, you know, it was a flight mechanics game. There wasn't really many games like it at the time, and it's a really easy Platinum trophy, guys. This is one of the easier ones on the list, racking in about 8 to 10 hours. Not long. The campaign is so short. The campaign is only about 3 to 5 hours, and you have to play through it twice, once on medium and then once on the hardest difficulty called formidable. But all in all, it's really easy. Finish the game, there's no missables, a few miscellaneous trophies, but all in all, a sound list, which I think if anybody wants an easy platinum and, you know, a Marvel superhero game, which, you know, I love, pick this one up because, you know, it's easy and it's fun-ish. Okay, number 3. I should say, guys, these aren't really in any order. You know, some are a bit shorter, some are a bit longer, but all in all, most of them are okay. This is the only sort of shameful game, but just bear with me when I explain it. So this game is Megamind Ultimate Showdown. Now, you know what, this is the easiest game on the list, racking in about 5 hours. All you have to do is play through the game, and that's pretty much it. You know, only difficult thing, which isn't difficult, is just to beat a few bosses without dying. That's literally it. The game is so easy. But what makes it a somewhat fun game is because, yes, it is made for kids, but Will Ferrell reprises his role as Megamind in this game, and Will Ferrell is hilarious. We all know Will Ferrell is hilarious, and in this game, he has loads of funny one-liners, and he just keeps you entertained throughout the short game. Yeah, if it was 10 hours or 15 hours, I would not be recommending this game because it's not the most in-depth game. It's sort of a kid's game. But because Will Ferrell's coming in with these one-liners, and if you like Megamind, it's a pretty decent movie. I enjoyed it anyway. It's a fun-ish, really, really easy game. It's the easiest game on this list. It's getting there towards that shameful, but I don't think it is because it's still quite a decent game to play. Pick this one up as well. This is probably the easiest game on the list, and it probably is the least fun game on the list, but the easiest. So we've got to find that balance, haven't we, guys? Okay, so the next one on our list is Lord of the Rings: Aragorn's Quest. Now, do you remember back in like 2009, 2010, there's all these sort of drop-in, drop-out co-op games? Like, you know, that's sort of when LEGO started to really hit its stride and become this massive whirlwind of the same game every year. But on a whole, there was these games that were coming out which were like sort of movie tie-ins or video game like TV series tie-ins which had drop-in, drop-out co-op. Well, Lord of the Rings: Aragorn's Quest is that game, but if you like Lord of the Rings, you know, it's definitely built for a child audience, but it's still a great game. You know, I can't have too much Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings. You know, I grew up with it. For me, it's like my Star Wars Originals trilogy. Like, it is one of my favourite worlds of all time, and the characters are amazing. And what's more, who doesn't want more of Aragorn and Gandalf? You get to play as Gandalf as a second playable character. And this game is easy, guys. You know, probably racking in about 2 out of 10 difficulty. Take you about 10 to 15 hours to platinum trophy. It doesn't really have any difficulty. All you have to do. Now we're sort of getting in. I've mentioned a few games which don't really have any collectibles. I'm starting to get these games now have a few collectibles. But all you got to do is play the game, do the side quests, and then once you've done that, go back through and do a bit of a cleanup. So, you know, you probably finish the game in, you know, 8 to 10 hours and then spend, you know, 3 to 5 hours doing a cleanup. It isn't amazing, that part of the game, but, you know, that is the sort of the vice and the cons of trophy hunting. You know, a lot of games have collectibles these days, or even back then. But all in all, guys, Lord of the Rings, for me, more of the same, more of awesomeness, and it's a great game, it's a great series. So maybe this game isn't great, but it's a great franchise, and the game's okay, it's fun, it's not too long. So you can just jump in whenever you want, finish the game, and when you've done that, do some cleanup, do some collectibles, and you got yourself another shiny platinum trophy, so what's not to love? Okay guys, surprisingly, this is going to be my favourite game on the list, one of my favourite games of all time in fact, which is Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Now, this is one of my favourite games of all time, probably not my top 10, but definitely my top 20. I love Spider-Man, you know, clearly. I thought PlayStation 4 Insomniac was amazing. This was actually my 200th platinum because I wanted it to be a milestone. And there's been some great games, Spider-Man games of late. There's been some terrible ones, you know, like Edge of Time wasn't very good. Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 were dreadful, but Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Web of Shadows, Spider-Man 2, and then the new Spider-Man, and within reason the Spider-Man 3 was okay. There's been some okay, it's basically, you know, it's on that spectrum of great and just abysmal Spider-Man games. This game sort of fits, like, you know, more towards the great side. It's the hardest trophy list on this video, I have to say. Probably racking in about 5 out of 10, basically because you have to play the game twice. There is about 16 levels. You have to play it through on normal or on hard. You could play it on hard first time if you wanted to, but you will struggle a bit, and there's a small amount of collectibles, something like 8 per level, so, you know, it's not too much. You get to play as 4 different Spider-Men. It is pretty awesome. Each one plays different, each one has their own different abilities, different storyline, and they have quite a few reprised actors coming in to voice the different Spider-Men. So all in all, it's a really good experience. It's probably, if I had to rate it as a Spider-Man game, I'd probably go as far to say it is the third best Spider-Man game behind Insomniac's, and then Spider-Man Web of Shadows, and then probably Shattered Dimensions, followed closely by Ultimate Spider-Man and then Spider-Man 2. So although this is the only one that isn't open world, it tells more of a concise story, which is pretty fun. The animation's really good, the cutscenes are really good, and as well, Stan Lee does the narration for the game as well, so if you want to pay a bit of respect to the late Stan Lee, you can do so by playing this game. Pick this one up. If you only could pick one up, I would say this is the most fun game on the list. Okay guys, so we're going back to the movie tie-ins. We are going to talk about Captain America Super Soldier. Now this game is pretty awesome. Now this game, although it was a tie-in movie based game, it was praised and received really well for its time. It had really innovative combat, it had a great little platforming system. All in all, it was a really good game, and it's, what more do you want? A great superhero story that is quite short. You can platinum this in about 10 to 12 hours, a difficulty about 2 to 3 out of 10. All you've got to do is play through the game, then play through it on challenge mode, and then do some collecting, which is going to take you a couple of hours. You could do it in your first playthrough, you could do it in your second playthrough, depending on how you want to experience the game. But this game was received really well. It wasn't just a generic tie-in game, which was just, riddled with loads of bugs and just, half-arsed game, to be honest. It wasn't like that at all. It had a bit of time put in, the combat's really fun, and all in all, it's a really sound game. And if it wasn't a tie-in game at all, people would have given it probably more credit for how great it is as a game. So another great game. Again, 10 to 12 hours, like, what more do you want? A great, you can finish this game in 3 days, 3 leisurely 4 hours. What more do you want, guys? What more do you want? Now this final game is a tie-in again, and it's a superhero one again, and it was based on a terrible movie, a really poor movie, and you kind of may have an idea as to what it was now, and it is X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now this movie sucked. This wasn't the best movie at all. Poor Ryan Reynolds, he wasn't given much credit there, and rightly so, but he didn't have much to work with. Hugh Jackman still did alright, to be fair. It's Hugh Jackman, it's Wolverine, he's always going to be awesome, but the movie itself was pretty poor. The game, however, is the exact opposite. This racks in at probably the longest game on the list, about 20 to 25 hours of just hacking, slashing, bloody fun. You play as Wolverine, you fight your way through all these different levels, different variety of missions, you kill lots of different enemies, you get a lunge everywhere and cut people to bits, cut people's arms off. What more do you want as Wolverine? That's how all the movies should have been. There's no missable trophies again in this, guys. In fact, there's no missable trophies in any of the games. You have to play through it twice, one on medium, one on hard, and there is some collectibles throughout the game, which, brings it down a little bit. That's sort of what brings it up to that 20-25 hours. You can probably finish the game in about, most of these storylines, back then, the games were only 8 to 10 hours long, so, you probably finish the game twice in about 16 hours, which leaves you about 10 hours to do with the cleanup. But again, it's up to you if you want to do the cleanup as you go or do it afterwards. But all in all, this is probably one of the better games on the list for gameplay, action-packed, really, for its time, quite a complicated combat melee system, really enjoyable, and of course Hugh Jackman reprised his role, so again, more of Hugh Jackman. That's never a bad thing. I literally would watch anything if it had Hugh Jackman's face on it. I'll just stare at a wall if it had Hugh Jackman's face on it, to be fair. So yeah guys, there was 7 games that I think are great, fun, easy platinum trophies for the PlayStation 3. These games can be picked up really cheaply now, guys, probably between £5 and £15 British, $10 and $20 US. They're not expensive games anymore. They're great, and as well, just bear in mind that this is just sort of my experience. But I think when the PlayStation 5 comes out, if it is backwards compatible, these games are going to skyrocket in price. So if you are interested in buying PlayStation 3 games, you probably should be picking them up now, just in case this does happen, because it could double all in price. So they're going to be a lot harder to pick up if backwards compatibility comes for PlayStation 5. We know it's coming, but we don't know to what extent, to what detail. So I would just recommend picking them up now. These games are awesome. They're really easy. They're really cheap. Go play them, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you're going to play any of these games. Let me know which ones you want to play. If you've already platinum some of these games, let me know as well, because it's interesting to see if you played some of these easy games. If you got any more suggestions for anybody else, down in the comments below. If you got any suggestions, if you like this type of video, let me know. If you want any other types of top 7 lists, let me know as well. Thanks as always, guys. Take it easy.